VO in Stereo is sponsored by Bodalgo, international voice acting platform.
Now we're recording.
Now we are recording. Welcome to VO in Stereo. I'm Jared, your host, along with me, Steven. Today, help me welcome award-winning director, executive producer, multiple SOVA nominee and award winner. Plus she has time to do a podcast. Does the woman ever sleep? Help me welcome Anne Ganguzza.
Woo! Hi, guys.
Welcome to VO in Stereo. It's so good to have you. Being all blue and electrifying. Woo-hoo.
Love it.
Oh,
It is an honor. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
We're gonna be like,
boss. Well, thanks so much for taking some time to be with us.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Much appreciated.
My first question to everybody, just to start things off, is it's a great place to start. Is where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in Rochester, New York. Upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At Strong Memorial Hospital.
Okay. That's very specific. I love that.
It is specific, yes.
And how long were you in New York for?
Until I went to college, actually. Through college. Right after college, after I graduated, I moved to New Jersey.
I see. Okay. So you grew up a New Yorker.
I did.
And did you grow up in the city or did you grow up in the state? Or
no,
where?
it's pretty much upstate.
Okay.
And when I came down to New Jersey, when I moved to New Jersey, then I was literally across the river. So I got a lot of exposure and fell in love with New York City.
Exposure.
Got a lot of exposure.
That's great. When you
To the city.
New Jersey, exposure.
Well, New York State, upstate New York is really it's not a lot like New York City. They're like worlds apart, but the same state, but worlds apart.
True.
More like Georgia. How come you guys are making fun of me down here when you got the same thing up there? Like it's up there, not down here. It's up there. So
I lived in the country. I grew up in the country. I'm just a country girl.
Interesting.
And interestingly enough, I grew up behind a ski mountain, but I never skied.
Pardon? What a travesty.
It kind of was, but I owned horses when I was younger, so I spent a lot of time at the stables and mucking out stalls and grooming my horse and riding and.
Yeah, but that's awesome existence too. Those horses.
It really, yeah. They taught me a lot. I'll tell you, it's an amazing thing when you are a young child and you learn to ride an animal that's a couple thousand pounds that has its own mind. It's really a mental, challenge to overcome lots of fear. That I had to do. And the horses are very sensitive. I mean, so they can tell if you're nervous or if you're scared. And I'll tell you, I've been thrown off a horse more than I can say. But, I always got up and got back on, and it just taught me so much about life, I think. I'm grateful.
As soon as you mentioned horses, you said muck. That's about the nicest way of saying I shovel. Beep, bleep, bleep, bleep.
I did. I totally did. I worked off my lessons. I worked in the stable every day. I'm probably one of the only girls, that if we travel by a farm, I'll go, smells like home.
Smells
like home. And I love the smell of horse manure. It brings back such wonderful memories.
You can say shit on the show. It's fine.
Okay. Horse shit. It just brings me home.
Nice.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like smells and connections. That's, the imagery probably also would tie into voiceovers, being able to connect with things instantly like that through.
Yeah. Sights, sounds, and smells.
So you grew up in upstate New York. That's pretty rural, right? You had horses and stuff. Did you have horses? Or did you have to go?
I owned two of them,
awesome.
and I rode them and showed them and loved them, and basically made my parents go broke because I had to have all of the the accoutrements that went with it: the saddle, the riding chaps, the boots, the hat, every weekend showing.
Horses ain't cheap.
They aren't.
No.
Nope.
Okay, I need to know the names of these beautiful creatures.
Okay, so my first horse, what happened is my first horse was a thoroughbred off of the racetrack in upstate New York, and because he didn't run very fast, which is why he was for sale, I bought him, and I got him for a pretty reasonable rate. He was a black thoroughbred. He was beautiful, and his racing name was Black Lightning, and I renamed him Rhapsody. For a song, because this is what happened. I took music lessons for 8 years, piano lessons, close to 9 years when I was younger, and I couldn't do it all. I couldn't play music seriously and ride horses, because it was like I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. And so I decided that I was going to stop taking music lessons, to the chagrin of my mother. She was so sad. But the last song that I played before I went into horseback riding seriously, was Rhapsody, Hungarian Rhapsody. So I named him Hungarian Rhapsody. And so Rhapsody was his name.
Okay, I was thinking Bohemian, but that's fine,
No, but that works too. That works too.
Little horse
Exactly.
He's just a pony galloping his family, sparing his life in his hay and his seed.
Okay. All right, so now my next one. Okay, so now you guys can perform for my next horse. She was a racehorse off a track in Florida, and her racing name was Good Gams, and but her short name from the owner was Mandy, because she was a Barry Manilow fan. So there you go. So go ahead.
I give you the fight. It's Maryland Manilow. Mandy. You gotta feel
yes. So you kept me from shaking. Anyways, and I renamed her for her show name. I mean, I called her Mandy, but her show name was Mandolin Wind, which another song. Well,
Bruce Hornsby.
Yes. So I'm an 80s girl. So now you know. Now you know it all.
I do.
We can just go home now because you know me.
do.
Yep. I'm an 80s girl through and through.
We're having fun. We're digging.
So, rural New York. I'm still trying to focus there, because that was your childhood, and you spent all that time there. And
we had a dirt road and a culvert. And I fed the fish at the creek.
No, that's awesome. Did you have brothers and sisters?
Okay, yeah, I had 3 brothers, and my cousins, which we spent summers and holidays with, and so I have lots of great memories of when I was growing up in the country, and literally skipping stones in the water. That's what I did. There was no internet really back then, no cell phones, none of that, and so literally we just went outside and fell down and scraped our knees and ate dirt and fed the fish at the creek. So
came home when the sun went down.
Yep. Oh yeah. Even later than that, I remember summer was my favorite, because it didn't get dark until 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, and so my parents were like, "Well, when it gets dark, you come home." So we had a great time.
I did the same thing until they get mad and remember how late it would get dark and be like, "It's 9:30," and be like, "You said
when it gets dark."
You knew 7 o'clock. Well, damn.
Yeah. We grew up on 10 acres of land, so there was a lot of land. We had a pond and, some wildlife, a lot of deer, a bobcat once in a while. A heron used to visit the pond. I guess a big heron every season would visit the pond, and it was a lot of fun. Good place to grow up.
Did you grow up creatively at all? Or were you just a horsey person, or were you?
Well, I spent a lot of, so I spent a lot of time, number one, at my piano for 8 years. And then I spent, all of my time at the stable, really. And my mother loved it, because I would come home from school and just go to the stable. That's it.
For TV, right?
No, and it kept me out of trouble. It was I grew up in a very small town with, I'm going to say, 1 traffic light, maybe a few thousand people in the town, and everybody knew everybody else. And basically, the kids hung out in the bank parking lot and drank, that kind of thing. So because I was at the stable, I wasn't at the bank parking lot drinking or getting into trouble, which wasn't, I had my time that I got into trouble. Most of the time I was at the stable after school, just riding and, loving life.
Sweet.
something.
He's obsessed.
That had to have been a lot that taught you a lot about responsibility.
Sure did.
About the creative and being able to play with your cousins. I think every bit of that probably ties into your chosen career, which is, not only, the voiceover, but the producing and the directing, or,
The
every
creative
aspect of it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The other thing I do remember very vividly is I would teach my dolls flashcards. That was another thing. And so I was a teacher for 20 years and I coach now. And so I feel like I always kind of knew, I always kept very close to my passions when I was young. And I think it's really cool. I've always listened to my gut. And that's kind of for my business and for my personal life. I've always listened to my gut and followed it. And so everything throughout my life has been following one passion or another in a way. When I went to school, I loved music. I was in choir. I played piano. And, I rode my horses. I went into college. I was in choir there, and I was in, a musical band there, and just always kind of, went along with those passions. And I still do today. I mean, it's, my coaching is my teaching, and my love of the combination of creative and technical parts of my life, which I really love.
I totally understand the creative part, but help me out with the technical, because I am not tech savvy. Stephen is. I am not. Well, I
think
you say that, like you say, it helps you with both sides.
So I remember when I was in college, and I originally majored in mechanical engineering, which was kind of my brainiac side was my engineering. I was fortunate I did really well in school. And so at the time, my career counselor said, go into engineering, females in engineering. So I did. I went into mechanical engineering. And around the third year, I started thinking, I don't love it. I mean, I love it, but there are certain parts of it that I don't love and I don't get. And I walked into a computer lab where there was computers there with three-dimensional designs, visual designs, and it was learning CAD, and it was right at the beginning
Here's
of
something I found on the web.
oh
Pattentsonline.com.
why thank you, computer.
Computer's
Stop.
being super helpful about what you found on the web about CAD drawings.
See, now we know. I'm just gonna shut you off right now. There we go. But anyways, so it was the CAD lab, and I just fell in love with the whole computer technical and the visual spatial, the 3D spatial, and that was right then and there. So I kind of sidelined. So instead of mechanical engineering, I went for computer graphics engineering. And then when I graduated, because I knew this CAD, which was very new at the time, I got a phenomenal job as a biomechanical engineer for an orthopedic company, which was an amazing job the first 6 years out of college. So I designed hip and knee prosthetics, which was amazing. I loved it. I felt like what I was doing was helping people. And by the way, that whole medical part kind of goes into why I do medical narration now. So, again, always related. And so I spent 6 years as a design engineer for Stryker, it's called Stryker now, and had a wonderful time. It was tough, I'm not going to lie. It was tough as a female in the late 80s being an engineer. And I'm going to say that the industry wasn't quite ready, maybe for me. And I don't mean that obnoxiously.
Honey, I don't know if the industry is ready for you now.
No, but I mean, at the time, I just think that it was a relatively. Oh, there's my.
Yep.
Hi,
Hi,
mister.
buddy.
I have two
He's
studio
so-
cats.
You have three of them, so he loves to sit on the back of my chip, buddy.
Forgive me, mother. I did not know we were being interviewed today.
Hi, Mom. There he is. Hi, buddy. I know it. Okay. So, anyways, I don't even remember where I was.
Love
in
the
story, but
stripes.
He's so much more
Stryker.
interesting.
You worked for Stryker and you were a special assault team. You guys would drop in, take care of it, and be right out and doing the nails and the hair, and it was
I loved it. I did love it, and but I think that I had applied for kind of a different position in the CNC, in the CNC department, and they kind of were like, not quite sure if we're ready for you yet, because I had taken CNC programming in college, and it was a lot of fun. And so again, that whole technical, visual, spatial, creative thing, where you can combine the computers with a crafting of I mean, one of my projects in college was to just do like a milling operation, a facing operation, a bore, a countersink, and all of that. And I'd made it into a clock. And so I kind of took like my simple exercise and made it into a clock. And then I mass produced them in college and had a wonderful instructor, by the way, who I'm friends with on Facebook right now. I really am going off on a tangent. But again, that whole technical creative thing.
That's one thing we love about our show is tangents.
Right? It's a tangent. But that whole creative technical thing, and I think that's where I kind of got my love of technology. So after I finished my my job at Stryker, I went to work for a school in the technology department. And then thus began my fascination and love of technology, because we were very fortunate because we were able to get a lot of technology for the school, because we became like the academies of like the Dell Academy, the Apple Academy, the Cisco Academy, every like kind of software, Adobe Academy. So because companies wanted our students to come out knowing their products and their software. And so we got all of that stuff pretty much like for free, which was awesome. And it was a really creative, inspiring place to work for 20 years, which is what I did for 20 years. And I tell you, my students were amazing. They taught me everything. And I was simply, all I could do was motivate and inspire them if I could. That was my goal. So.
Like a badass jazzercise instructor.
That's kind of it. You can do it. They're like, I want to learn C++. Okay. I think that's great. Why don't you teach me? How's that? Like, I don't know it, but you can teach me and you can write a web page on it. And that way I'll, because my whole thing was project based. And I'm like, look, you could share it. You can share it with the world on this new thing called the World Wide Web. And I can teach you HTML, but you can teach me how to do C++. And that's kind of how it worked. And so I worked with project-based, brilliant students at this Magnet Academy. They, it was a public high school, but they applied to get in, they tested, and they interviewed. So they were students who really wanted to be there. And so I was very lucky. Did that for 20 years, and really some
intellectual
amazing
bartering. I mean,
yeah.
how much smarter can you possibly be?
So
first by saying smarter. Smarter.
They were amazing. My kids were, and I get to watch them graduate, and I follow them now. Through their lives. They're all grown up now and married, have kids, and yeah, it's all wonderful experience I had.
So when was the flip to becoming a boss?
The flip was in 2008 when I decided that I'd had 20 years and I was sick of the snow on the East Coast. And I said to my husband, let's move to California. So let's see if you can get a job transfer to California. And he did. Like, it was kind of cool. I feel like we manifested it. And then we came to California. I said, oh, but before we go, you're going to have to make like 1.5 times more than what you make now, because I'm going to quit my job. And then I'm going to go for this voiceover thing full time. And he said, okay. And
yeah, but how did that spur on? Because I don't see their path is not really leading you to voiceovers.
When I worked in the educational institution for 20 years, teaching, and of course I was on the payroll as a tech staff, but I was certified so that I could teach electives. So I taught the IT electives and all the technology electives because it was just cool. I mean, I loved learning it. And then I taught it. And so after that, it was kind of like not full-time teacher, but just elective, like every other day. I got to teach a class or two, and it was wonderful because I didn't have to go to any meetings. And it was just like, I got to have fun with the technology, and I got to have fun teaching the kids or having the kids do these really cool projects. And just, it was just a great experience. So I did that for 20 years. And in the meantime, I was installing technology. And part of the install was a voice over IP phone system. We were one of the first in New Jersey to get one from Cisco. And we installed it on our campus. And then we ended up installing voice over IP phones everywhere on all of our other campuses, because we had multiple campuses. We also had a special services district. And then we were a county school. So we were able to kind of install phones everywhere in the state of New Jersey. We were probably the largest voice over IP install in New Jersey back in the late, 1990 something, I want to say, when voice over IP
that was a good year.
came out.
That's personally my
when
favorite
voice
year
over
in the
IP first came out, and I was project manager for the job, and when we were done, everybody would say to me, I'd say, well, you just need to record your welcome greeting and then your phone tree. And everybody would be like, no, you do it. So that's basically, I started doing, thank you for calling. Your call is important to us. And I started doing that, and it was wonderful. I had so much fun doing it. I just became every character like you ever wanted to be as a phone operator. And it was just, I had a good time. And people said, oh, you sound so professional. So they said, you should do this for a living. And I said, really? Is that a thing? So I investigated, and yeah, lo and behold, voiceover was a thing. And so I studied, I got a demo, I started doing it part-time. And the rest is kind of history. I mean, I decided after 20 years, I was done with the snow in New Jersey. And I said, Jerry, can we move to California? He said, let me try. I said, oh, by the way, you got to make 1.5 times. Because I'm probably not going to make that much. I'm going to quit my job. And that was like, that was scary for me. And he said, okay, I'll try. And he did. So, how cool is how? I mean,
yeah, that's pretty cool that Jerry was like super cool about it. Like, yeah, no problem. I got this.
I got you.
And then you're not always cooking some delicious food too.
Oh, he always is. Yeah.
Oh my dear Lord.
Thank God, because I don't cook. That's for sure.
Oh no, not at all. Well, I mean, geez, with the stories you told me already, you tell me you didn't have time to get a culinary degree too? It seemed like you had so much time just to sit on your teacher.
I have no interest in cooking. It's like, and when he goes away, it's horrible. I'm like, Jerry, like, can you at least let's put some stuff in the freezer for me?
Can you make the list of the takeout places?
He's so good though. Before he leaves, he really will. He'll cook something and he'll put it in the freezer for me, and then I'll call him up and be like, how do I heat this up? Jerry, wait, how do I turn? Really? Okay, wait. Oh, how hot should I put the stove? Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I cannot. And the thing is like he even cleans. So it's not only does he cook, but he cleans in the kitchen because it's his, it's his thing. It's his lair.
Wear blue earmuffs if you're a little spoiled.
Well, hey, who am I to get into his creative space, right?
Right, absolutely.
So if he, and I'll get in there and I'll try to help. I'm like, let me help, honey. I can cut. I can chop.
I can understand.
And then I'll do something weird with a knife and it'll be, honey, just get out. Just
get out.
Just get out. Let me do it. You're fine. But no, seriously, he loves, like, that is, I mean, he's not a cook. That's not his job, but that is his relaxation. He's Italian. That's like what he does. He loves to cook, and everybody wants him to open up a restaurant. He's like, no, because if I do that, then I won't love it anymore. It'll be like a job.
That's true. It'll become a job.
So, So I'm fortunate that he cooks amazingly well. So, when we have our next get together and you guys come out, you'll be able to experience it firsthand.
Jerry, I'm coming for some of that pasta, baby.
There you go.
Come.
So I feel like you've just heard my entire life. So now.
No way. We haven't even begun
we still got more time. You ain't going nowhere because we got to go over the coaching and the podcasting and the producing. And oh my dear Lord, do you even sleep? I meant that when I introduced you. I was looking at everything. I was like, good Lord.
Well, I do a lot. Thankfully, I have a really good team. I have up to 9 people that work for me, not full time, but 9 people that really help me. I could not do it without them. And that's something that I'm really proud of because it took a long time for me to give up control. If you can't tell by now, I'm a little like self-control, like freak, just a tiny bit. And so for me to give up, like, oh, here, delegate, do this for me, it was a lot. And, but it was the coolest thing because I learned so much, and I realized that you cannot grow if you do not, invest in your business and delegate. And I cannot grow. I can't. And so I'm very fortunate that I'm able to have pretty much 4 brands that I run pretty heartily, with the help of my team. And I don't sleep. I do work a little bit too much right now, but I'm going to figure that out. I've got 10 years, till I retire. And when I retire, I'm really good. If I'm a little bit of a control freak. I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. When I work really hard. When I play really hard. And so I'm working really hard so that I can play really hard when I retire. And I don't have to worry about, I don't know if I'm going to do voiceover when I'm 70 or 80, or I don't think so. Just to be completely honest. I may coach it. I may, mentor, but I don't know if I'm going to do
the full-on stressful part of
Yeah.
every day taking on
Yeah.
different roles. Well, I think a lot of people do get that they don't understand exactly what it takes to not only run one part of the business, but to run it as a true entrepreneur.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's not easy.
And well, part of it is I'm trying to set up parallel paths of income so that if things are, and we all know we go through the highs and lows of voiceover, when things are, not, pumping out every day, and I don't get that voiceover gig every single day, I've got another path that's earning income for me. So that's part of why I've broken up my brand into a couple of different things. That's one of the, I won't say that that's the reason that I coach. The reason that I coach is because I truly feel that that's in my soul, in my heart, that is what I was born to do, is to teach. And I love it. I just absolutely love it. And so teaching in some form for me is what is a strong path for me. And the voiceover is the creative, and I do voiceover so I can be a better coach. So I can really, immerse myself in the craft and then be able to share that with my students. So
that makes complete sense.
Yep. So
I mean, you mean, unlike some people out there in the voiceover world, you know what the hell you're talking about?
No, thank you.
I mean, you can't just click on ACX right now and make $400 an hour if you speak English. Do you know you can poot in a microphone and make $7,000 this year? Like, you're out of your mind.
There's something to be said for longevity. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 15 years now, and it does, it's like if you can stick it out, I feel like if anybody can stick it out for that long, I mean, you're in it for the long haul, and that's when you're really starting to see like return on investment. You're starting to really see like, I can sustain this income and I can make a living. I can pay the mortgage with this. And I think there's so many people that aren't used to, and it's not just voiceover, it's the entrepreneurial high-low, right? The hustle, the marketing, that important part that, secures you your next client. That's where I feel that most people, they're not prepared for that. Nor do they want to do that. And I think that's where most of the people they'll do great if they're performing or they're coaching and learning how to, do another genre, creating another demo. However, the whole rest of the story, and that's like the majority of it, is to go out and market and get the client. And that's tough. That's really tough for a lot of people. And it's funny because I've been a speaker at conferences for years now, and I would always be like, let's offer this business class. And it's like everybody wants it and everybody says they want it, right? On the Facebook forums, they're like, oh man, I wish I knew how to do marketing, or I wish I knew how to do, and they say they want it, and then you offer it as a class in a convention, and they're like, no. I want characters, or I want the performance. I want to do automotive. And that's fine. But what most people need, they don't want to necessarily put the effort into.
Oh man, that has become quite apparent here lately, especially with what conventions are offering, because you see a lot, you see a lack of the skill building.
Yeah.
And then you see a lack of, I think we just discussed this, you see a big lack of the skill building that you need, the reality check that you need, and then the core of what we all do, which is acting.
Yeah.
Why is there 17 classes, like you said, talking with these people and all these boards and getting to ask all these people these questions that you don't get time to get the answers you truly need, but yet there's only one acting class and only one marketing class and only one how to set up a budget for yourself. It's like,
yeah.
Like
that's the stuff that nobody likes.
What the community.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the stuff they don't like, all the business stuff. But that's the most important, I think. Really,
that was my biggest reality check. I said that almost every time that comes up on the show. Yeah, that was my biggest. Thought I was going to be Willy Wonka in the Charlie Factory.
You just stay in that studio for 8 hours, and the jobs are just going to come. And that's, and even if you've been at it for a while, you still got to work your tush off. I mean, it's a never-ending thing, and I'm constantly working. Oh my gosh, constantly working on getting the content out there. Which is, by the way, one of the reasons the teacher in me, wanted to do the VO Boss podcast, because I wanted to give back. I was actually thinking of. I was actually thinking of giving up my Peeps brand because it was becoming a lot of work. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll just convert everything over to VO Boss. And then I couldn't give up my Peeps because I love my Peeps. And so then I was like, all right, how am I going to do it? But I wanted to give back. I wanted to, so I was going to evolve everything into the VO Boss brand, and I haven't quite done that yet. But the VO Boss was going to be giving back the education, giving something to the community. And that's how that started. And it just turned into a really cool thing that I have a huge passion for. And I've learned a whole lot along the way, that is for sure. And in the end, it's also brought me more work. So, and that was a bonus, but that wasn't the original intent of it, because gosh knows, the investment into the podcast, if anybody, you guys know this, you do the podcast, there's not a lot of money. Everybody's like, how can I make money on my podcast? Wow. Yeah. You're better off if you do your podcast for, a certain amount of time, right? People are going to get to know who you are. And then they're going to, you know what? I really like that, Jared. I really like that, Stephen. I want to work with them. And that's where your return comes for the most part. I mean, I do have a product. I have the Boss, the Boss Blast, which is doing well. But that supplements like what I pay for the darn thing. Cause I got to pay for an editor. I just redid my website. That was thousands of dollars, because I have a very functional back end, which it's not just a page that's static, but it does all sorts of things. It schedules.
I got a functional back end too. I'm sorry.
I got a functional back end.
That joke just get away from me. There was no way hell that one was slipping by. Who's got a functional back end? Woo!
I got a functional back end, but it's true.
Click that button. Like and follow.
That's the stuff that isn't, a one-page static thing. I mean, that costs money to develop and to integrate with other applications that do automations and, that kind of stuff. So I just redid the website, spent some money on that. Very well worth it though. But and then every month I pay for editing, I pay for promotions, I pay for, the easiest part is getting in the studio and recording that 20 to 30 minute podcast with somebody. That's the easiest part. The rest of it is putting it back on, get it transcribed, getting it edited, doing the promotions, sending out the thank yous and getting people to interview, figuring out what topics I'm going to cover, It's all that you guys know.
It's on and on.
That reminds me how much I love Steven.
Because I do everything
producer on the show, and he puts a lot on himself, and he always gets a lot done, and it's always well done. And if he's got a question, he'll ask if he needs something. But Steven is like for lack of a better word, he's a machine.
Yeah, well, it's
bleep, bloop,
and
bleep,
I will say I've been through a few editors. It takes a storyteller. It takes a true producer to understand like where's the story, where to cut, because we make mistakes. We have to take breaks.
We drink Coke Zero before the show.
Before the show, and then we have a bubble. That kind of thing. So we have to edit.
We have the. We don't have to edit this one. See, we took care of it.
I know you guys are
took care of it in the front end, so we don't have to take care of it in the back end.
Well, there you go. And I've got a functional
back end. Exactly.
Very important. On multiple websites. I'm going to put that in there.
Functional back end on their websites.
Right.
It's them people and their bosses rock it all night.
Hey, I need some new music for my podcast.
You came to the right place.
I think I might have to hire you, Jared.
You may not believe it, but Steven knows how to play the git fiddle.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
A few things.
So, did you guys always listen? Let me turn this around on you for a second. Did you see? I always wanted an audio podcast, but now you always wanted video.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
Kind of what we wanted after the inception.
Mm-hmm.
And we just BSing one day, and then it came up, and then like we really started working on, wouldn't it be funny if it was like this? And then we reference like when we pop up the videos and the funny things, it's much like the pop-up videos from VH1. It's so classic.
Oh my God, those were so
love
awesome.
it because sometimes we'll make a joke, sometimes it'll be a one-liner, and sometimes it'll be something serious.
I think it's gonna have to do something about the functional back end. I'm quite sure. There's gonna be a somewhere.
I don't know what kind of visual thing I'll come up with. We'll
see.
There's the
brand new
creative
single
genius,
from Andrew
right?
Ganguzza, functional back end.
There's the functional back end.
Don't you want a functional back end?
So did you have coaches when you were trying to do voiceover, or were the people who were coaching you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
And
let's
anyway, I
hear
have
some
fun with
people. Let's.
that. Nancy Wolfson. I have to say Nancy Wolfson.
Her name comes up a lot.
Nancy is a tough love teacher. And
like Everett.
I love her for that. Everett too. I've worked with Everett. I've worked with Dave Walsh. I've worked with some amazing coaches. David Rosenthal. I love David Rosenthal. Joyce Castellanos. So yeah, I try to learn from everyone that I can. And when I do the VO Peeps, the cool thing, like one of the reasons, there's Everett. One of the reasons,
really, Stephen, really.
Come on, go. Wait. All right, go.
And go.
And
give us another song.
Go. So yeah, I mean, I try to, and my VO Peeps, why do you think I established VO Peeps? So that I could interview people that were my idols and learn from them. And I host a monthly workout, which is amazing. Just had Bob Bergen. I love Bob Bergen. If you've ever heard him speak, he's so good.
We just had him on the show.
Yeah,
so much fun.
So good. And he works, he goes above and beyond when he did characters with my VO Peeps. So amazing. Pat Fraley. I mean, got some amazing people, and fingers crossed I'm going to get Fred Melamed to come on this year too, or next year. So yes, get some really good acting, because we need that. We need to hone our skills for acting because of that AI thing.
It's not called voice pretending.
Right. Voice acting. Let's put the acting back into voice acting.
Right. That's why I did that whole AI series. I'm sure you guys know about that.
Hashtag bring acting back.
Yeah. Own your clone.
Hashtag blue boss.
Yeah, there's not enough acting classes I see for for voiceover. There's a lot of everything class, but not a lot of acting class.
Yeah, I did a class a month ago with John Florian. I did a human speaking, bringing the human back, or speak. What did I call it? Oh my God, it was like the 360-degree human. So.
Oh, y'all were talking about me, huh? Because my circumference.
Human back. No.
Oh, okay.
Bring that 360 degrees of emotion. That's the cool thing. Like, emotion is cool because you have 360 degrees of emotion that you can express, and that's what keeps you safe from the AI.
We have to
get
safe
you
from the AI.
Yep. Because we can nuance them and combine emotions and do all sorts of cool things and be directable. So. As much as I am all about I am about technology. I mean, we got to evolve. And for a while, I thought many people hated my podcast because I was talking about it. And I was just, I'm an educator.
No, you're being topical. I think J. Michael Collins, he did a thing on it. There's a lot of people talking about it.
Yep.
They can be a flamingo about it and stick their head in the sands and ignore what's coming. Or they can buck up, put their big girl pants on, and don't mean to judge anybody out there. But it's just a phrase, okay? Yeah. Don't cancel me. It's just buck up, tighten up, and for a lack of the better word, just you have to deal with it, man. It's life. And if you haven't experienced that yet, well, I mean, I'm sorry, sweetheart, you're in the wrong damn business if you chose voiceover and you don't want to have to just deal with it sometimes.
Well, the music industry, hello, right? And I was there. I remember, I was the cool teacher, right? I was the cool teacher because I had the first MP3 server in the school, which nobody was supposed to know about. But the kids were like, oh, Miss Lucy, because that was my maiden name.
Miss
Lucy. Can we? I'm like, no, you cannot. And then in the meantime, I'm like, hey, what kind of music you got there? Well, but yeah, it just went digital, right? I mean, look, this is what's happening. I mean, the music industry changed and evolved when things went digital. I mean, before, look, I remember my first, I had tapes, I had mixtapes. The girl of the 80s had mixtapes, and then I had CDs and vinyl. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And now we're all back to vinyl again.
Yeah. But it has evolved. And so voiceover is evolving, and we need to be aware of what's happening, and we need to figure out how we're going to work with it.
Are you doing Clubhouse as well?
I am. I do a Clubhouse every Thursday with awesome colleagues Jody Kringle and Cheryl Halling. Called the VIP in podcasting. So cool stuff. Every Thursday at 11 Pacific. Please join us. We would love to have you guys. Jared, I thought you were there once.
I'll pop in, but no one ever puts me on the stage.
Because you don't ask. I will put you on stage next time.
It's too much. You don't pull his string. Jesus.
I will put you on
You
stage.
have to know some people,
Pronto.
apparently.
Right?
Pronto.
Got to pull some strings in this industry.
Right? Make some
love
friends.
Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. It's a whole nother. It's a whole
No,
nother.
it's great.
you
I'm
know,
trying to get Jared and I
population.
to get on there and start.
Super fun. We
Well,
want
it
to do
should
like
be-
a
It can
workout
be a
thing there.
supplement. It can be like a supplement to your
Right.
in stereo.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking too for VO Boss. When
Right,
in my
'cause-
spare time.
Supplement hours here to pump up your cardio game. It's the same
That's
thing.
right. Yeah, because this
Oh,
format
there you
doesn't. This format doesn't. There's not a lot of interaction. Nobody can ask questions and that sort of thing. So there's not a
No,
lot of
not at all. No, not at all. Well, I'll tell you what. We interviewed last week the guys from Club Deck. I don't know if you use Club Deck.
I did.
Very
I was
cool
there
app.
for that one,
I
actually.
Yep.
can't use
Love
Club
that
Deck
one.
on my computer. It doesn't.
Why?
Doesn't recognize my microphone, so it doesn't work.
Oh, we'll do a USB microphone for now. It likes USB microphones.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't
Mine
like
works.
my
Mine works
Apollo.
perfectly. My Club Deck works.
Oh, it doesn't like your Apollo.
Doesn't like my Apollo at all. No, unless I have some sort of other routing mechanism.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty much what it's looking for. But I also couldn't use my Tula mic on my phone, which I bought a Tula mic just so I could use my phone and do Club Deck, and
And I
that's
didn't like
a
that
whole other
either.
story. Yeah, it only works. The Tula only works in certain applications. Like if Twisted Waves on my phone, it'll work with the audio, memo, it'll work. With all of those, I think native apps, it'll work, but not with Club Deck or not with Clubhouse. Actually, it'll see it. You can.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get on stage and you start to talk, it defaults to the iOS microphone. And trust me, I did multiple tests with it. I was like, darn it, I need to justify the Tula. The Tula is so cute. I love
Well, I think they changed something in there when you're on Clubhouse and you use the mic that's in your iPhone. There's a way to do a wideband. And when you do the wideband, it sounded really good. And Jared said it sounded amazing through there, right? Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
So like it defaults to a normal thing, but you can actually go in there and change the setting to a wideband.
Well, I've got to figure that out.
It sounds really
then.
good.
Oh, maybe that's the
It
key.
sounds really good. I'm not kidding.
Wideband. All right.
See, now everyone's learning.
There you go.
Boop, 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 boop. This is why we
Great
got to get on
knowledge.
Clubhouse because we have things to talk about.
Clubhouse is cool. I love Clubhouse.
Yeah.
I think it's a great format. It's a great medium. There's something to be said for just and I'm nothing against, I love the video form of a podcast.
Yeah.
But there's also audio when I'm jogging, right? And
No. We offer our show on Spotify too,
both,
so
yes.
we're there. We're there.
Oh no, I'm not saying you don't.
No, I'm just saying. I'm
so
You're
pretty.
primary. I think
I'm
you're
just
primary.
our audience. I'm just telling our audience it is available if you.
Yes,
If
that's
you're a
awesome.
Spotify person, you want to jog and listen to us, or drive and listen to us. We're there.
Yeah, 'cause I know that it's so distracting with you guys. When I'm trying to watch you when I'm driving.
It can be very. You shouldn't do that.
So
Don't
distracting.
VO and stereo and drive. It
No,
could be bad.
no VO and stereo and drive.
Everyone buy a Tesla. It's
See?
not
Right.
important to watch this show.
That's
the-
right. And let the Tesla drive you.
This is the number one show in America, as long as you're asking me or my mother.
I
Or
get
Everett.
Or Everett. yeah.
So, I hate to turn the wheels or whatever, but it
Turn it.
seems to be a habit of mine. I really like, there's a couple questions that I like, but everyone always talks about rainbows and sparkles and how beautiful everything is. If you would please be open with me and the audience about maybe a time that just wasn't so nice and you had to pick yourself up, you and your husband both, or, it could be just an instance where you had to get through it and you did.
Right now. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I've not been shy necessarily about talking about my cancer journey in 2012. That was a huge shocker. Because I'm like, but no, this is like I'm just getting started in my career. I was just starting to see things happening with Peeps, and I was starting to really grow my career, and then that happened, and I literally was like, this is not a good time. I just remember sitting in the car after my doctors told me, and it was like, if you've ever watched Breaking Bad and they share that episode, the first episode when he's told he has cancer and everything goes into this like little like hole. It's exactly what happened to me when they told me. They're like, okay, blah, 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 cancer. And then it just got like all cloudy. And I was like, oh my God, my brain was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, this can't be happening. I'm fine. I feel awesome. Like I'm in the best shape I've ever been. And so that was really, really tough mentally and physically to get through, but more mental. And it's a journey that doesn't stop after you've, had surgery and been deemed cancer-free. It still goes on because there are ramifications when you have major things happen to your body like that, and you take major medication, and it's a thing. But the really awesome thing was that I could work kind of through it in my booth, because nothing like I was like, after that I was like, what the hell am I like so freaked out about, like trying to be myself behind the mic? Because I just went through this experience that, good God, it showed me what was priority in my life. And I'm like, what a little thing, like I'm scared to perform behind the mic, you know what I mean, to be myself behind the mic. Well, I let that get into my way, and I'm like, good God, if I can survive cancer, I can do voiceover. I just felt like there's nothing stopping me.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was a big perspective jump, and it was, believe it or not, it was a blessing. Most people say, how can it be a blessing? And I said, well, it certainly changed my perspective. And not that I wasn't always like, I always wanted to live my life to the fullest. I was always like, follow my passion, follow my gut, let's do this. And I was always pretty much aligned with that, and it always worked well for me. And even more so after having that and getting through that and going through that with my husband was amazing. I'm not a good nurse, that's for sure. My husband has a cough, and I'll be like, can I throw him a lozenge. Can I get you a lozenge? Maybe, but he took such good care of me. And really, I had some amazing people around me. And it's a mental thing, because I still, when I go get tested, I still have a lot of fear that I deal with in terms of like, oh my gosh, what if. But it's also shown me to live my life to the fullest. And to just, as much as I wanted to live my life to the fullest before I had my diagnosis, even so afterwards, like even more so afterwards. Now I'm like, oh my God, I just like nothing. I say what I think. I do what I want. You know what I mean? I mean, in a positive manner, I don't let anything hold me back. And it's allowed me to be bolder in many more aspects in my life, because I'm like, hey, I could die tomorrow. It's a thing. I mean, and the fact that the mortality was brought so close to me, and the fact that I could die. I mean, I just remember that's a really tough thing to go through. Like I remember one night and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. My husband's like, Anne, like, and it's just one of those things that you've got to breathe. You've got to get through it. And I literally thought I was going to die. And there are times when I relive things that aren't fun, but overall it's made me, I think, live my life fuller and better and be more grateful. And I am okay. The interesting thing is that I have, and it's not all right, oh gosh, you're going to make me get really deep here, but so. That's
okay, I got a scuba diving mask.
In my head. In my head, I feel like I have maybe a shortened life. And I don't mean that in a weird, I don't mean that in a weird, depressing way. I just mean like, wow, it's okay. If I have lived my life to the fullest. I have loved, because all I can do is love, right? I can't do much else, can't control much else. If it comes back, I can't control, but I can love everything, everybody, what I do, who I'm with. And that is that's the way I survive and I get through it. And that's a really cool thing. You know what I mean? To like.
Right now, you got me feeling like it's your damn superpower. You got me all.
But it's an amazing thing once you realize that. It's amazing. And it's okay when I say I might have I'm okay with that. Because I am living. And it's amazing. So I don't know.
I just want you to know that totally qualified for a great answer.
Thank you.
And that
and a hug.
Yes, we're giving you virtual hugs and loves to Anne. Ganguzza.
Well, thank you. But it's true. I mean, it's really true. And I I hope, like, if I would love, if it helps somebody, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm so glad that it helps somebody, give them perspective, in terms of, I remember being so like uptight about, why am I not getting this more gigs? Why am I not, it was always one of that game where you're like, oh my God, it's a dry time here in VO land. I'm not getting any jobs right now. And should I just give up? Am I bad? Or, that always happens in the beginning of the careers, I feel. Like a lot of my students in the beginning, it's tough to get over that major psycho, kind of feeling where like, oh my God, I don't belong here. Oh yeah, it's that imposter syndrome. I don't belong here. I suck. This is not for me, or maybe I'm not good enough. And I think everybody kind of goes through that. And I want to say that you know what, we all go through that. It's like, it's okay. You're not alone. You are not alone. And I realized
not alone.
Yes, I realized just how much it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I'm here and I'm happy,
awesome.
And I'm doing what I love.
Go to my next one, which is a little bit different. I'm going to need to know your comfort food and drink.
Oh, comfort food. Oh
yeah.
Anything Jerry makes, really. Is my comfort food. I tend to like the carbs, which is not great for me. I love carbs. Like, I'd rather have a piece of bread than a piece of candy.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I love
a good piece of sourdough dipped in a soup is like heaven.
Yeah, good piece of bread. Comfort drink. I actually really love water. It has been it's been a long time coming.
It's been on this planet for millions of years.
I don't know.
It's almost a part of you.
I don't know if it's just me, but when I grew up in the country there, we had a well, and my well water was amazing. It was so good. It was always cold and crisp, and it was a lovely, lovely flavor. And then, I grew up and moved places where the water wasn't as good. I'm like, what happened? But
who did this in a carburetor? This is bullshit. I'm just kidding.
Why is this made by Coca-Cola?
Why does my left eye twitch now when I drink the water?
I want you to know that I don't drink Coke. So you came on and we say that I drink Coke. I don't drink Coke Zero. Like, I used to drink a lot of it, but now I really don't. I was really drinking it before you guys because I was tired. And now all of a sudden,
there was no accusations,
I was tired. So I was like, I need some caffeine, so I'm going to guzzle some of this Coke Zero. And then, of course, it just was like right there.
You see how awake Ann is now. Let it be known. VO and stereo is the cocaine equivalent in voiceover.
But water, I love really good water, like fresh, cold water, not freezing cold, but cold water. That's my drink. And in terms of alcohol, look, I went to college. I did it. I did it all. I drank my face off, and I'm not a huge drinker today. I really am not. But if you had to, if you had to ask me what kind of a drink I would like, I had a really lovely margarita at a dinner party I went to yesterday. So,
nice.
The normal, regular margarita. Yeah.
Don't cry for me, margarita.
I'm a bad Californian because I can't drink wines. Wines, the tannins, they burn my throat, and I can't have that when I'm doing voiceovers. Yeah.
Well, where can everyone find your fine self?
Oh, goodness. God, if you can't find me, I'm so online. And Ganguzza.com is number one, right? And then, of course, my beloved podcast, voboss.com, which just redid the website. So props to my web girl. I love her. And if VO Peeps, of course, my group of peeps, where we do awesome events. And Jared, I know you've been there quite a few times.
I've got some bands. I've got the swag. I think I got the leather pleated jacket. And I know I got the Victoria's Secret number and the juicy booty thing. That sweat outfit was slamming.
The peeps, they're awesome. So yeah, and Ganguzza.com is pretty central. And that's Ann and E, Ganguzza, Ganguzza, just like it sounds. And then yeah, VO Peeps, VO Boss. And also VO Studio Cats if you happen to love cats. Look them up. Yeah, they have their own Facebook, page and their own Instagram. And they're cute. So
and you have to maintain those though.
Yeah, they're well, I don't have children, but I do have cats. So, and they were kittens when I got them. So I literally have thousands of pictures, which are being posted twice a day. They
Whether
are.
you like it or not.
That's right. But the people that love cat pages, they're a unique breed. That's for sure. So,
That is for sure.
yeah, they have their fans. They have their fans.
There's tons of cat people out there.
Yep, there is. There is.
I like all animals and turtles.
All animals are awesome. So,
Turtles.
Well, everyone, that's another episode of VO in Stereo. And thank you so much for carving out the time. I had a blast. Like
Thank you.
always, especially
I did
this
too.
time, it was more like talking to a friend again, which you are my friend. I don't mean to brag, but
thank you so much. It was so much fun, guys. And I really realized that now I didn't need that Coke because you guys just energized me.
No,
So,
we don't need the Coke.
VO in Stereo, the equivalent of cocaine in the industry.
there you go.
The quicker picker upper. I don't know.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks. Bye.